Welcome back. This is Kirsten from JK Fiber Arts. Today we are in the home stretch for finishing our hand spun sock. I'm super excited to get started. I love finishing the first sock, so here we go. This is my wonderful husband's moderately large size 13 foot. And we have the cuff, the leg, the heel, and then this was the gusset we just finished. Now I'm just gonna work even until I get, probably about, in most people, it's going to be to the knuckle of the first MP joint right here, and it fits him perfect. I'm very excited. It looks really, really good. Okay, we're ready to begin our toe decrease. So now I have about 2 inches until the top of his toe. His toe I actually measured, and to get back to his joint, his knuckle joint back here, was like 3 inches, so I went just over top of it. So I think this is going to be good. And I'm going to do a decrease that's more of a gradual round decrease. It has a couple of knitted rows in between each decrease. Today we are ready to do the decrease for the toe. We are in the home stretch here. So my plan is to show you the decrease for the toe and the Kitchener stitch, and we'll be finished with one sock, and then you're kind of on your own for the next one. Which reminds me, anytime you have a question, just put it in comments. I do try to check them regularly. I've just been working even with the original 64 cast on stitches out to my husband's toe, and I'll show you that on him in just a second. So the next step here, we are going to be at this toe decrease. Now there are a lot of different ways to do toes. Some of them have it decreased down to just like 4 little stitches, and you just cinch it and you have a pointier toe. I tend to like the German toe, which is a more gradual rounded type of toe, and then I do the Kitchener stitch at the end like this. This particular pattern that we are doing has that pointy toe that I do not care for. It has a decrease row every other row. So all we're doing here, now for the toe, everything is always just knit. So what we're gonna do here is create this. We are creating this little strip right here. And the best way that I can think of to remind you what you're doing is the knit stitches are going to be adjacent to each other, and the decreases are going to be on the edges. So here's my marker. This is the beginning of the round. So when I start the round, I'm going to knit the first stitch. So this will be my first round of decrease here. So I'm going to knit the first stitch. And then I'm going to slip, slip, knit. And then I'll knit to the end of the row. And again, because I have the 2 needles, we are going to be decreasing at the beginning and end of each needle. So I'm going to do this slip, slip, knit, knit 1, slip, slip, knit, and then I'm going to knit until I get to the last 3 stitches here, and it'll be a basically reverse order. So I'm going to knit 2 together, knit 1. And that's going to give me this band right here that decreases for the toe. So I'm just going to knit along, get to the last 3 stitches here on the first needle, and now I'm going to knit 2 together, and then knit 1, and that is going to be the first half of my foot stitches. So that's the decrease in setting up the edge for half of the toe there. And then this is going to be the top of the toe. And again, we're back to the beginning of the needle. The beginning of the needle is going to be knit 1, slip, slip, knit, knit 1. Slip, slip, knit is always going to be the start of the needle. The slip, slip, knit is always going to be at the beginning of the needle, and the knit 2 together, knit 1 is always going to be at the end. And what you'll see here as I come around, so the band is being made right here where you have the knit 2 together, knit 1, and then knit 1, slip, slip, knit. So I get those 2 stitches in the center, and that is what gives you this nice little band right there of decreased stitches. Knit 2 together, knit 1. And that is the first decrease worked. For the Harris tweed pattern that we were working on, what they'll do is they do a decrease, and then they knit a row, decrease, knit a row, decrease, knit a row, and you just keep repeating that until you have between 10 and 12 stitches left total, and then you're going to divide them 6 on top, 6 on bottom, and then we'll do the Kitchener stitch. It's already divided because I've already done that before I start my decrease, because it makes it easy and you don't have to worry about stitch markers that way. The one I like is that German toe, which is the knit a couple rows in between. So I'm going to knit 2 rows in between, and for the German toe one, the easy way to remember it is you just keep doing this until you get to it's decrease row, knit 2, decrease row, knit 2, decrease row, knit 2, until you get to row 10, and then it's every other until you get to row 15, which would be a knit row, and then after that it's just decrease until you have the number of stitches that you want to graft the toe. Both ways are nice. It's just personal preference. So I'm just going to knit this around. I'm back to the beginning of this row, and I'm going to do 2 of these in knit, and then we'll decrease again, and we'll just keep doing that, and you'll see my band develop. You like it, and you're going to have fewer stitches remaining than when you do the German one. With the German toe, it's a rounder toe, so usually you'll have more stitches at the end. I think typically there's like 10 or 12 stitches per needle, so you would have a total of around 20 to 24 stitches, and you would Kitchener that. Typically what I will do is start doing my decreases every row, and then I'll just get to a point that I like. I think this one I did 8. Seems about right. And that's for me. My husband's foot is bigger, so I may actually do the 10 on each side, 10 or 12, because that'll give him a wider roundness to it for his bigger foot. I think it'll be really nice. I'm ready for my 3rd decrease round. So basically every round you're decreasing 4 stitches on the decrease round. So I did my first decrease, then I knit 2 rows, then I did my second decrease, and then I knit 2 rows, and now I am on my 3rd decrease. And then we'll get to the Kitchener stitch when you're ready. I love the Kitchener stitch. I like grafting. I have no problem with it. I know some people really hate it. I think it's wonderful. I like to do provisional cast on for infinity cowls, and it's just so perfect. There's nothing that ruins beautiful work more than a big old honking seam. Plus, I like to graft. I'm not such a big fan of sewing, so I find it very, very useful skill to have in the arsenal. Last 3 stitches, we're going to knit 2 together and knit 1. And then beginning of the next needle, we're going to knit 1, slip, slip, knit. And then we're going to go to the end of this needle, which will also be the end of our round. And I think you've got the hang of it here. And then I'll just keep working on this, and I will come back when I'm ready to graft. Just totally aside, I love this yarn. Isn't this cool? I love the way it turned out. Really, really pretty. Okay, I finished my toe decrease, and you can see the little strip right here, and I have a nice rounded decrease, and then here is the tip of his toe, and this is going to Kitchener stitch right over it, and see what it looks like there, and it will not be too tight. It's going to give him a nice fit. Look at that. That is a perfectly fitting sock. It's always helpful when you have a giftee available for fitting. I have finished my toe decrease, and we are ready for the Kitchener stitch. We are in the home stretch. So the way that you set this up, half the stitches, you should have the same number of stitches on the front and back needles, and you should have 2 needles. The working yarn is going to be on the back needle, like this. What I'm going to do real quick is just slide my stitch marker off. That is no longer required. Next thing that you're going to need is a tapestry needle. And a tapestry needle is it is a thicker needle. I like the ones that have the bent ends. I have a smaller one for socks here. That's the one. And then this is a lovely chatelaine that was given to me as a gift. I'm not sure where she got this. I love this thing. I throw it in my knitting bag all the time. All right. Next thing is we're going to cut the yarn. Usually it just needs to be about 3 times the length of the row that you're grafting, and that'll leave you plenty to work in. So the Kitchener stitch. You're going to slide the stitches to the end of the needle. Then on your front needle, so you're going from back to front, you're going to go in the first stitch as if to purl. And you're going to leave it on there. Now you're going to go into the back stitch as if to knit. And you're going to leave it on there. This is the point where I tell you tension is really important. You want to try to match the tension of your other stitches. It is easier to tighten it up than it is to loosen it. So if you're going to err on doing it a little too loose, although ideally just do it the same tension as your knitting stitches were. So now we have done the to purl, kept it on the front needle. We've done as if to knit and kept it on the back needle. Now we're going to start. That's the setup. Now, every time you go in the front needle and you do the first stitch on the front needle, that's going to be as if to knit, and you're going to slip that stitch off the needle. Then, staying on the front needle, because you're gonna work 2 stitches on each time. You're going to go as if to purl, but you're going to leave that one there. Now, you're going to go to the back needle, and we are going to go in the back needle as if to purl. And you're going to slide that off the needle. And you do a little bit of tension there. And then you're going to go into the second stitch, and you're going to go in as if to knit. And you're going to leave that on there. Okay? Now we are underway. The way that I remember what I'm supposed to be doing first is I'm looking at this, and this is the knit side, so I'm going into the first stitch and I am knitting it and sliding it off, and then I'm going into the second stitch here and as if to purl, and I'm leaving it on. The way I remember where I'm at now, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the purl side, so I am going into the stitch on the back needle as if to purl, and I'm sliding that off the needle like that. And then I'm going to go into the back needle as if to knit, and that's going to stay on. And what you'll see, I have to do a few more, and then you'll really get a good idea of what we're doing here. Now we're going to go into the front needle as if to knit. Again, I'm looking at that like it's my finished side, knit side. And then I'm going to go into the next stitch as if to purl. And that stays on. Now I'm looking at the purl side. So I'm going in as if to purl, right? Basically doing it like a purl stitch. Oh, I undid it. Slide that off the needle. And then we're going to go in the back one as if to knit and leave it on the needle. So if you can see here what I've done, I don't know if you can see it yet, but we're making knit stitches that come along the toe, and they match here. So along the toe, and now it looks like a knit stitch that just wraps around the toe, so you don't have a bulky seam on your toe. It'll be more apparent when I get through a few more here. And this is where we're talking about matching the tension of the stitches here. You can start to see those knit stitches coming in. I think you can see now that what's developing here. And you're getting the knit stitches across the toe. See that? All right, I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep doing this the whole way till the end. And there we are. And then the next step, and this is how I cinch this down. Some people don't like this because they say, oh, it gives you like these little dog ears, but I don't really get them. I think it's the way that I finish this. Hopefully I'm on frame here. Let me see. And so if you see, I go towards the toe, and that just lays that down nicely. If you try to finish it this way and go inside, it leaves this little bump there. This way, it finishes it beautifully. So I just tuck it in right there and pull it down, and then there will be no dog ear. And then let me just turn this inside out so I can work my yarn in, and we'll see the finished product here. I'm just working my end in here. And you do not need to tie a knot. In fact, I think it's, this is never going to come unraveled. Tying knots in the toes of socks is just not something that I would recommend. It's uncomfortable. You know, nobody wants a knot poking on the tip of their toe. So I just work this in whatever way you like to do it. I usually will go up and down so that it will hide in these little pearls on this side. And I do it until I can't do it anymore. I work the tail in for as far as I can with the yarn that I have. And then I'll just cut it. And then we'll have my husband try this on and see if it is a good fit. I know it will be, though. Well, as long as we're here, we might as well work in the end here too. There is a little chain across the top here. And so where this cast on is, it's coming through here and down. If you look at it on the edge, the way that I do it is I bring this across and complete that chain stitch so it looks really nice. It'll close up any tiny gap that might be there. You said this sock didn't really have one, but and so what I'll do is I'll just go right through here. And there you go. I mean, once I cut this tail, you're never even going to be able to tell where the beginning of that round is. That's what the toe looks like. That's the rounder toe instead of the pointy toe. And now we just got to see it on somebody to appreciate it. Here we are, the final try on. And then you got to bring it over here into the light. Yay! Into the lighted area, if you would. Thank you. Oh my gosh, it looks perfect.
And there's Lucy. Hi, Lucy. She wanted to get in on it.
She did. Now the sock belongs in our house because it has dog hair on it. All All right, let's see. Bend your ankle up. I want to see the side of it. Do this. Ah, thanks. So we have we have a very close dog. Work with me, people. Come on. Good girl. All right, now we have all animals cleared away. So you can see, let's go to the top of the toe here. There's, let me focus here. Yeah, there's no dog ears or whatever you want to call it. Everything looks great, fits nice. Let's see the sole of your foot. And we have the sole of the sock. And it looks so good. I love it. Now y'all have to run out and make another one that matches. I will see you next time. Until then, knit happy.